Well, hi folks, and I hope you're all keeping well. Sorry it's been a long while since I've done one of these tutorials, but with holidays and one thing and another and work commitments, it's been a little bit difficult to get the time in to do one. But today's a bank holiday here in the UK, and we've been asked to do something either for volunteering or artistic or whatever. I thought I'd do a video tutorial, and I had a request from a couple of people to show you how I did the latest video cover that of the Joy Division track Transmission. And believe it or not, for such a short track, it's created me a real quandary as to how to show you how to do this one. Because most of it is, as you probably, if you've listened to the track, it's mostly guitar orientated, with obviously the backing tracks created on the JDXI. So I thought I'd just kick off and just explain what I did. So I created the backing tracks on the JDXI, and then it is just the one sequence that's being played from the keyboard, and then recorded it onto this Zoom R8 multi-track recorder. So the output from the JDXI, I've got the left channel going to track 7 and the right channel going to track 8. So I thought I'd just play you the tracks as they are, and then I'll show you how to do them in a bit. So this is how it starts with this. It starts off with an LFO pad, playing two chords, two alternating chords. Here we go. So this LFO pad eventually will become the vocoder track as well. So this is where the bass comes in. This is coming from the JDXI as a picked bass, and then we've got this very recognisable drum pattern, and then this literally carries on like this all the way through to the end. So there's not much more to show you until it gets to the end, when I introduce another instrument. So I'll just skip to the end of the track to get to here. So we've got still got the LFO pad, we've got the bass and the drums. And in a moment you'll hear an analog synthesizer come in. And if you can hear that there, we've got that analog synthesizer playing in the background. So those are the tracks, or the sequences rather, that was created with the JDXI. So just skip back to the beginning, and then we'll just show you how we bring the guitar in. So the guitar is recorded on track 3. If I bring track 3 up now. The vocoder comes in on tracks 1 and 2. Radio, live transmission. Radio, live transmission. And we get variations of that, obviously, towards the end. There's some more guitars come in playing power chords. Just skip to the end and just let you hear them coming in. So we've got, I double tracked the guitars on tracks 4 and 5. the analog synth coming in, and then the guitar coming back in again. And then right at the very end, I just use the tempo knob on the JDXI just to slow the tempo right down. And then finish with a guitar chord. So that's how I created the cover version, or I recorded it, I should say. Now I'm going to try and show you how I created it. So let's go back to the JDXI and we'll just have a listen to the sequences. We'll just play them as you heard them on the track there. So we started off with this LFO pad. So all that LFO pad is doing, it's LFO pad 1, and you'll find it in the strings pad setting on the JDXI, and it's just simple octave chords that I'm playing on there. So I'm playing, sorry, we shifted up one octave on the octave control here, and I'm playing D, A and D. So that's the first chord that's being played, and then I'm playing C, G and C, second chord. So let me just, I'm skipping ahead a little bit now, or just jump back a bit. The tempo for this track is 149 beats per minute, and it's over 4 measures. So if you remember from my other videos, if you hold the shift key down, you'll see we've got 4 measures set up. So the D chord, that's what I'll call it, the D chord, that goes on the first 2 measures, and the C chord goes on the second 2 measures. Now you can record that as I've shown you before, either with the step recorder, or you could record it once you've got the drum pattern down. You can record it against that if you want. I would suggest using the step recorder to do it. As I'm doing this with a handheld camera, it's going to be difficult for me to go through the whole erase it, record it, blah 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 process. So if you're not sure about using the step recorder, have a look at some of my other videos, and that will show you how to use the step recorder. Right, next the drum pattern, which is, well, sorry, the bass pattern rather. Let's go to the bass pattern. So the bass pattern is, let's just isolate that, let you hear it. So what I'll do, again, as in the other recent videos I've done like this, I will write this information down in the description for the video. So we've got the bass guitar that we're using is the picked bass. You'll find that in the bass settings on the JDXI. And the notes that I'm playing are D, and C, but there's a B that slips in there as well, so it goes. So that slips down. Actually, no, it slips down to an A, doesn't it? So we go from D so it jumps down to an A, back to the D, and these are the positions that it's on the sequencer. So you can put these in basically by pressing the note and then pressing the appropriate button in the measure to enter the note into the sequence. So on sequence 1, we've got the same pattern. So it's number 1, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13 and 15 on all of the 4 measures of the sequence. Again, I'll write this down in the description. The drum pattern, let's have a look at the drums. So we just isolate the drums. Quite a good drum pattern that, I think. So let me just get my notes. So I wrote all these out yesterday in preparation for doing this today. So what I'll do, I'm going to turn all the drums down. It's going to be like I used to do it in some of the earlier videos, and we'll just bring them in one at a time, and then show you how it all builds up. Again, I'll put the numbers for the measures for the different drums in the description, so you'll be able to follow it on there. It's fairly easy, because it's basically a repeating pattern that goes all the way through. The only difference is these tom sounds that we get a couple of tom hits in the sequence. So let's start it off. That's what we wanted. It's nice and quiet. So start off with a bass drum. So the bass drum, as you see, is appearing on 1, 7, 9 and 11, and that appears on the same positions in all 4 measures. Then we've got snare drum 3. Then we've got this partial hi-hat. Then we've got the open hi-hat. Then we've got percussion 2. Then we've got tom 2 and tom 1, so bring tom 2 in and tom 1. So they only appear on measures 2 and measure 3, those 2 tom sounds. Again, I'll write this down in the description for you. So that's the drum pattern, which just carries on repeating all the way through the track. And finally, we've got the analog sequence sound, which sounds like this. Now we're using, believe it or not, we're using the Toxic Bass 1 for this sound. I meant to tell you what the drums are. The drums are, it's the Drum&Bs Kit 1 that I'm using for the drum sound. So the analog is using Toxic Bass 1, but it's actually shifted up 3 octaves. So we're actually up 3 octaves for this one. And we're playing this D, so we're playing it literally as high as we can. And it's, as you see, it's going on every position. So in the first measure and the second measure, we've got this D note here, and then that goes down to the C note there in measures 3 and 4. And that particular sound is only brought in right at the very end. So if I set this up to play it as if I was going to record it again, I would just switch on the the LFO pad, and then we would start playing with the LFO pad. So that plays through a couple of times. then hold the shift key down and press the bass. And then the drums. And that's where the guitar would come in. So there are some great tutorials on YouTube to show you how to play that guitar track. I'm not going to attempt to show you how to play it on the guitar. You could try, if you wanted to, if you can record this, you could try using the guitar sound from the JDXI, but to be honest, it doesn't sound that great. The notes, if you did want to have a go at it, the notes that so it starts on a B. Let's see if I can play it along. So you could have a go at playing it yourself if you can record it with the JDXI, probably using one of the guitar sounds. I was just using the bass sound there to improvise with. So finally, let me show you how I did this vocoder, which I think quite a few people were interested in how I'd use this vocoder. So what I used was the LFO pad, which is on digital 2. So I've just got the LFO pad switched in at the moment, and at the moment it's still saying strings and pads, but if I turn it up to the vocoder auto pitch, it's then set to vocal ensemble. Now if I press that chord down, and then I'm just going to turn the microphone off a minute just to let you hear. So I'm going to the sound from this mic is going to go quiet, and you're just going to hear the sound from the JDXI. So bear with me a minute, if I can do it. I can't do it while it's live. So let's just show you what I'm doing. Radio, live transmission. Radio, live transmission. But the beauty is, once those notes are in the sequencer and you hit play, it does that automatically for you. Radio, live transmission. Radio, live transmission. So when it's playing along with the drums and the bass, radio, live transmission. Radio, live transmission. But what I did when I recorded this, as I explained before, I recorded the main sequence, the musical sequence from the JDXI onto the Zoom R8 here, and then I added these extra tracks, these vocal tracks on tracks 1 and 2 afterwards. With the Zoom R8, you've got this metronome that will run in the background, so you can get it timing quite well. And to be honest, you don't need, well, I don't need like a MIDI clock to press two buttons together. It's as simple as that. You start this one playing, you wait for the point where you want the sequencer to start playing, and you press play together. So you sync them up manually that way. So once you get to the point where you want the JDXI to come in, you just hit play on it, and away you go. The synchronization stays there all the way through the end because it's digital, and so it works pretty well. So just let you have a listen to that one again. Just move it forward a bit. So what I did with that, I recorded the tracks twice. So I recorded it once on track 1 and then double tracked it on track 2, panned everything on 1 to the left and everything on 2 to the right, just to give it that bit of spread on the recording. So that's roughly how I did it. I did add some extra vocals in at the end using the keyboard, and so when the vocal ensemble's playing, you can actually then play extra notes with it. So I just played another chord, a higher up octave. See if I can just do it for you without the noise of the background there. So that's where it is normally, and then if I press octave higher, then brings in higher notes in. Radio, live transmission. See? And then that will then, it just makes the recording sound that little bit more interesting. Anyway, bit of a strange video this one, and so if you followed it, I hope you did. And I say there'll be more information in the description. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask me about it, please do so, and I'll try and answer them if I'm capable, as I always try to. And so I wish you all the best, and we'll see you again soon. Take care, and bye for now.